If you've been a massage therapist any length of time, you've come across the ethical issue of scope of practice. On the therapeutic side of the relationship, the hands on part, that means understanding the limits of what you're allowed to do and what's outside the limits. This is frequently defined by your regulatory agency. For example, in North Carolina, you cannot do breast massage unless you've been specifically trained in it. If you haven't been, it's outside of your scope of practice. If you have been trained in it, it's inside your scope of practice. Well, what does scope of practice look like on the business side of our life? There's a couple of ways of thinking about this. And one is a convenience, and one is what happens, what are the limits when some roles intersect. For example, let's say you're a massage therapist, but you got a side gig as a rideshare driver. Sure, why not? Your identity and your relationship with the client as a massage therapist has a lot that goes into it. And there's all these issues we think about vulnerability, balance of power, all that kind of stuff. Your identity as a rideshare driver, completely different set of expectations, completely different kind of relationship, and completely different status, as it were. Well, what happens when the person that jumps in the back seat of your car is a client? Do you engage with them as a driver? Do you engage with them as a massage therapist? Can you engage with them as both of these things? No, you kind of can't because very different relationships, very different expectations. That's a inconvenience. It means you have to remember that you're their client, but engage with them as their driver. Okay. It gets more complicated when there is some natural integration between the roles. So you're a massage therapist, you're also a running coach. Can you advise your clients about running? Is that covered by scope of practice in your regs? Probably not. Can you, as a running coach, talk about massage? You probably can because the scope of practice for a running coach is generally not defined by state regs. Can you advertise your running coach services to your massage clients? That gets very edgy. That gets you out on a thin kind of ragged edge of intermingling two businesses. Can you advertise yourself as a massage therapist in your running circles? Well, yeah, because again, running coaching is not covered generally by the same kind of scope of practice. So when there's a natural integration, you have to take into consideration what's allowed in one identity may not be allowed in the other, or vice versa. Now, what happens if there's potential conflict? Let's say you are an energetic healer. You have a side business not related to massage. Can you incorporate those two things? When somebody comes to you for massage, have they come in also with the expectation that you will give them energetic advice? Well, that depends. How do you promote your practice? Does this have any effect? Is this mentioned in the state regs when they define scope of practice? So, on the business side, scope of practice is what happens when you have two business identities. You're a massage therapist and what happens when those come together? Is it potentially just awkward? You're their grocery delivery and their massage therapist? Is there a potential for business crossover? You're a personal trainer and you're a massage therapist? Is it something that is unexpected unless you market your practice that way, as long as that's inside the bounds of the scope of practice as defined by your regulatory agency? So, on the business side of life as a massage therapist, scope of practice is two business identities intersect. And what is that going to mean? And what do you have to think through? My name's Kelly Bowers. I'm a retired massage therapist, and I teach business and ethics to massage therapists. Have a very good day, and I look forward to talking to you again.